Welcome to No Rucks Given, where I give some rugby insight. Now, I can't promise it'll be the most insightful commentary, but I enjoy my rugby, chat with the lads about it, so why not talk to a wider range of people? So, obviously, big news. Russie has announced a squad for the Rugby Championship. Now, caveat is it's specifically for Australia, and we'll get into it. So I think some of the players that have been left out potentially are going to get an opportunity against New Zealand and New Zealand. Obviously, Russie has circled that Eden Park game against the All Blacks as the one to win this year. And then, maybe a couple of guys will get a bit more of a run out against Argentina over there and back in good old South Africa. So, starting with the forwards, if you haven't seen it already, it's depth. Um, I mean, I don't think many other countries are boasting this kind of depth in the forwards. I think a lot of these players would probably be first selection or on the bench for most teams in the world. That's not to say every team, but it's going to be an interesting one to see how they gel, because especially in these first couple of games, these first three tests, include the barbars as well. It's been very disjointed. The bomb squad hasn't fired. They haven't done much at all. They obviously come onto the field and uh, they play well, and we've got the wins, but it's not that. I don't think people are quite quaking in their boots like they have over the last 2, 3, 4 years with the bomb squad coming on. They just haven't fired on all cylinders. So looking at the lock depth, I mean, can't argue with good old Luat, Eben. Um, I think those two are probably going to be our starting locks. You've also got Archie and Franco Moster too. I think he's on his way to making that number 5 his jersey. So looking at the forwards, quite happy. Although I'd say there's two names I'm quite upset that are left out. So obviously we've got Vincent Tuka, who made his unofficial debut against the Barbars and had a cracking game. And then when he came on and played Italy a week later, again, really good game. So it's a bit sad to see him, sent packing back to the Sharks um, to go play in the Curry Cup. Maybe he gets a call back. Maybe there is a niggle or there's a worry, but there's nothing that I've been aware of that would have made me think, maybe we're not going to select him. So that was a standout for me. And then obviously the second one after good old Jasper Wiese gave a small little kiss to his Italian brother, uh, getting his red card, and now will have to face his suspension. Rightfully so. You can't lead with the head, as much as there wasn't as much force behind it or anything like that. I think it was stupid nonetheless. So with him out, I thought Ivan Roos was going to get his chance, and especially now get more of an opportunity against Australia. I don't know what kind of Australia team we're going to play. Um, I think they played very well against the Lions in their first test. Obviously, didn't get the win, but I think a lot of people had written them off far beyond a game that close. So that's going to be the interesting thing. Um, but no Ivan Ruiz, left out initially from the training squads, only brought in because Jasper has the suspension. I don't know. I think he's been playing well for the Stormers. He's a bit of a card magnet sometimes, a bit hot headed. Doesn't really seem to listen or do anything anyone's way. It sort of feels like he plays his way. Maybe that's what's against him. He's not playing the Bach way as maybe Russie would like him. but a weird one. We need an out and out eight. And looking at the players there, I don't think Kwak is an out and out eight. And I think he often plays his best rugby coming off the bench when he can be the most effective. Obviously, we've got Kobus Visa there, great player, but I'm not sure if he's got enough oomph in him to be a Bach 8, as well as enough experience. I mean, we're going to be under the gun in this rugby championship, especially from the first 4 games. Doesn't look like we're firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go forward. Another big one that I must say I'm quite chuffed with is blooding in new front rows. I think the front row against Georgia played phenomenal, all on debut, and just cracked it. I mean, that's what you want, to start on debut. Yes, against a weaker side. It's not. I don't think Russie's going to start an uncapped front row against New Zealand, but they're really putting themselves out there. So Asanati, I mean, I think he's a future star. If he can continue to play like he's been playing, I mean, he's worked so hard in this off season. He's lost some weight. He is scrumming really well. It's a sad thing to say, but although we will miss the good old Stephen Kitsoff, I think we'll be okay. I think there are new players coming up that are putting their hands up, and giving it a crack. Now to the backs. Big advocate for Sasha. Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu is one of rugby's rising stars. But he hasn't been firing. Yes, I read that he had a small niggle injury before the Georgia game, and that's possibly why he wasn't kicking so well. But I think, you kind of have to agree with Dr. Russi when he says there's sort of no excuse for that. It's play well or you don't play. It's not like we are screaming for a number 10. Marnie has put his hand up, has been playing phenomenal rugby. And obviously, no one can question the general in good old Polly. I think a couple of interesting things from the backs, though. And again, I know this is just for the first 2 tests, but this is where I think you can see that some of the golden oldies, those that have won 2 World Cups, those that have played in those big games, Russie isn't possibly rating them as highly anymore, and the young bucks are really putting up their hands. I mean, no Faf de Klerk. Now, I can't remember the last time that happened, unless he was injured or we were playing a weaker side. So maybe that is, that it really is a shift now. And no Lukhanyo Now, I know he struggled with some injuries over the last, couple of years now, but he plays such ferocious rugby at that 13. I don't know if we really have another true number 13. Jesse is phenomenal, and yes, he captained, and a phenomenal rugby player, but just has that flair. So yes, you could argue Kane Moody can play there. I guess you can argue that Ethan Hooker can play 13, but I don't know. In games, maybe against Australia, giving them a run out at 13, I don't think is a bad shout, but I'd rather have an or a Creel at 13, in Eden Park, in the 70th minute, everything's on the line. It's a 1-point game, and you need those veterans. And then Philly. Now, I think this is a controversial one for a lot of people, but I think there's a plan behind this. So yes, there was all this talk about the plan of they want to get Villy his 100th, and he did. He is a Springbok Centurion. Fantastic. I don't think he's done, but I think his game and his role in the team is going to slowly change over the next two years leading up to the World Cup in Australia. Rusty's done this before, the 2019 World Cup and at the 2023 World Cup, where he brought an older player through that probably wouldn't have been selected by other coaches. But it's not just about what they do on the field, it's everything they do off the field. It's the training, it's the knowledge that they're passing on. Damian Willemse and good old Fussy are phenomenal 15s. But Villy has that smart head on him. And if he can impart his knowledge and rack up maybe, I think he maybe racks up another 5 tests over the next 2 years. But I think we'll continue to see him in that squad and take him to the World Cup to learn and play against our 15s. How would the opposition play? And he's so good at that. He is such a scholar of the game. I think that's where his usefulness is. So I don't think he's as controversial. I don't know if I agree about taking three fullbacks for 2 games in Australia, but let's wait and see. Now, obviously, added to the squad are the 3 young bucks, the under 20 world champions. They were able to, knock off the All Blacks about a week ago. And they have been playing so incredibly well. And I think Rusty has chosen 3 really good players to just bring them into the culture. Do I think any of these guys are going to get any game time? Maybe Justa. But not against Australia, I don't think. I think they're going to come along. They're going to learn what it is to take that next step up, and let's see what happens. They don't have to play. And if they do, I think it would be great. But I don't see them playing. I think it's going to be a very interesting learning curve for them. And Rusty's playing a smart game. It's not about just this year. And yes, the Rugby Championship and that Eden Park victory that has eluded all teams for the last 30 odd years. He's eyeing those games, and I'm sure he's eyeing France and Ireland at the end of the year. But he's also eyeing the future. It's not just about looking at the next couple of games, the rest of this year. It's next year, the year after, the World Cup year. If you can get these players integrated into the team, whether they play many games or not, blood that talent. I think in the last 4 games, in this 4-game, July series, including the Barbarians, he's made 14 changes after the first game, 15 changes after the next game, 16 changes for that last test. So he's tried so many new players. Why not try another 3? And he said in this Rugby Championship that they're going to experiment with a few more players. And I think these are 3 key players that he's potentially going to experiment with. Yes, there's other young players that like Asanati and Kobus Visa, but this is the future of Springbok rugby. Sia's not going to be around forever. Grant Williams, yes, he's young, but is he going to be around forever? Cheslin Colby? Cheslin Colby's in his 30s now. why not give Eusta a try? Yes, I know we've got, Edwill and fantastic other wings like Hooker, etc. But I think he's playing a smart game here. So yeah, let's wait and see. The games will be fast approaching. Obviously, Australia's got to get through 2 more tests against the Lions before the Rugby Championship is starting. So we'll definitely be covering a lot of that, and let's see what's coming. So if you're enjoying what I have to say, you enjoy my rambling, fall asleep to it, I don't mind. Please subscribe. Um, Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what things you'd like to see. Um, but I just thought this was the perfect time with the squad announcement. Why not? Why not talk about it? Give some of my opinions instead of just chatting to mates around around a beer or two. Let me talk to some other people. Right. I'll see you in the next one.